Fletcher Rhoden, and this is Quotes and Quips. Today, words of wisdom from Katherine Hepburn. Quotes and Quips is brought to you by my website, FletcherRhoden.com. That's where you can find links to things like my Amazon.com author page. That's where you can buy my books in paperback or for Kindle or in audiobook format. There's also a link to my Spotify artist page. There you can download my records in their various subgenres. I've got new music for 2024. You can really download my music from any one of a number of sites all over the internet. And if you go to my website, there's free music that you can get there exclusively. So, today on Quotes and Quips, Katherine Hepburn gives us this. If you always do what interests you, then at least one person will always be pleased. If you always do what interests you, then at least one person will be pleased. Okay, so, sorry for starting that off with a misquote. Katherine Hepburn, free spirit, feisty, sort of a feminist, a crusader, a outspoken person, best-selling New York Times writer, a memoirist, several times a memoirist, just, a leader in every way, one of the great, perhaps the great actress of her time. You could almost, if you don't know her work, I would say Meryl Streep is the greatest actor to ever live. I don't favor the term actress if I can avoid it. But there are so many great actors of Katherine Hepburn's time that she can hardly hold a candle to some of them, but she can to most. And there's hardly a woman in her field who was a better actor than she was, I would say, until Meryl Streep. Anyway, her quote, if you always do what pleases you, then at least, or what interests you, then at least one person will always be pleased. So, what she's saying is, you gotta, follow your heart, follow your bliss, as Joseph Campbell would say, because you don't know how anyone else is ever going to react. There's no way of knowing. You can't gauge it on that. There's a quote about a lion not caring about the opinions of the sheep, and even though that has other undertones, I think Katherine Hepburn gets closer to it. It's basically the same thing. You can't do things to please others because you don't know if they'll like it or not. And you can't let that be your priority either. You have to please yourself. And then if other people like it also, great. But if not, then at least you like it. At least, and if you do things that you hope will please other people, and they don't interest you, then you won't be pleased, and they probably won't be pleased either, then no one will be pleased. And no one will be interested. So why not at least do what you want to do? And at least you'll be happy. That makes good sense. As true today as it was in her time. Pithy, sensible. Hard to argue with Katherine Hepburn on a lot of these things. Her wisdom was hard-won and seasoned with great age and experience. And her life illustrates that credo. She certainly did the things that interested her, and she was certainly pleased with it all. Of course, it's important to remember that she was raised with great advantage, and she had the opportunity to do things, work with great directors and actors, appear in great films, give great performances, write great books and have them published and widely read and adored by worldwide audiences. Well, those are things that might interest a lot of people and please a lot of people. It's easy enough to live your life only doing those things which interest you so that you can be pleased. But it's hard to, or it's harder for some people, I guess, to keep in mind that not everybody has that luxury. Some of us cannot do the things merely that interest us because we have to do the things that we have to do to earn a living, to raise our families and so forth. We're not born into aristocracy. We're not surrounded by wealth and power and success from our early years, or fame, or other things. A lot of people just have to get by. So they have to do jobs that don't interest them. So what about them? Do they therefore have to live lives where no one is pleased? That doesn't seem right to me. I think maybe what she's saying is find something that interests you. It's not what she said, but she had the luxuries that we don't. If you don't have the kind of life of luxury that Katherine Hepburn had, then think about finding something that interests you so that at least you will be pleased, despite all the displeasures that life will often set in your path. I don't mean to be curmudgeonly about it, but let's face it, we're not all just hanging around with John Huston and Humphrey Bogart, you know, drinking mint juleps with Howard Hughes. Let's fly to Africa. That's not the lives we have, Ms. Hepburn. But we can still extract some wisdom from your words if we just find something of interest, a little thing. You have to learn to be happy, you know. Happiness doesn't come along with the skin on your body or the hair on your head. It can certainly go away as quickly as the hair on your head, but it doesn't come along with it. You've got to find it somewhere. You've got to create it. You've got to find what makes you happy, and you do that by finding something that interests you. And then at least you will be pleased. So, there's my interpretation on Katherine Hepburn, her quote, my quips. I do this on Monday at noon every week throughout the year. I leave the reruns up so you can always watch them. And I've got another show from last year called Tracking the Lone Wolf, which you can see on its own YouTube channel, Tracking the Lone Wolf. There's also my website and my books and my music, so enjoy all that. Come back again, and until next time, bye, Mary.